It feels surreal to be sitting here in this moment, recording this, for so many reasons. One being that it brings me back, first and foremost, to my adolescence, where such vlogs were recorded on something as rudimentary and obsolete as a flip video camera. And here it is on my phone, which has been malfunctioning, but that's beside the point. The second and more pertinent reason why it feels so surreal is because to this very day 2 years ago, I packed up my bags, hopped in the car of my best friend, and left my Massachusetts tiny hometown at 3:30 in the morning to move to LA without a job in place, without really anything in place except for an apartment. It was perhaps the most impetuous thing I've done, the biggest risk I've ever taken in my life, but it felt right. It was a gut instinct, and I haven't looked back since. I mean, that's a lie. I've looked back a couple times because it's hard out here, I won't lie. But being here now in this present moment, reflecting back, as hard as it can be, for all the heartache I've weathered, there's been so much happiness, so much growth and realization. And I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be in my life in terms of career growth, purpose. So it's really crazy. And this is the same room I recorded my 1-year LA anniversary in a year ago. Obviously, slightly different position. The room has changed a lot. It's too much to get into in this one video, but it is insane to me that two of the I don't even have the words to encapsulate just how dramatic. I mean, I guess life-altering, character building, if we want to put it nicely, things that have ever happened to me in my life, my entire life, happened in my first 2 years in LA, one each year, respectively. Faye Dunaway would be the honorary third, but that's another story for another time. I went 25 years just having a pretty mundane, normal existence because suburban greater Boston is like that. My first year moving to LA, my house gets broken into and robbed. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the asshole did walk away with my entire Nintendo Switch game library of all the things to take. It was just a fluke. But, it is what it is. And then, right after I moved into here, almost a year ago, I was going out for a run, I got hit by a car. Not just a car, mind you, a Ford F-150. And as hopefully all of you should know if you follow me or in my life, my friend did not break any bones, was fine, discharged from the hospital the same day. Again, very, very lucky, very fortuitous. Just walked away with a concussion and some scars, but these things are just things I never could have fathomed living in Massachusetts, feeling so safe, so nestled, so protected under the gaze and watch of my parents. And being out here in LA, being sort of forced to confront and engage with this unknown, this discomfort of abandoning the known has been difficult, I won't lie. As somebody who, being neurodivergent, OCD, really resents gray area, it's been hard for me because I typically, for the years, I've been seeing everything in black and white. But it's been so formative, so foundational, so eye-opening. And it's insane to think about all the wonderful people I have in my life right now, all the friends I've accrued that had I never moved here would never be in my life. I'm obviously not where I want to be, but it's a long road. Being creative in LA, really in any city, but especially LA, is a long road. I had no delusions about that moving out here. But I do feel in my heart I am where I'm supposed to be, given the stage of my life, what I want to do, my career. And for all the disillusionment and heartbreak, there's been equal measure of happiness and accomplishment and just that intuitive feeling of knowing that you are where you're supposed to be and you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. an urge I fought for so long, an urge I felt even given my great creative propensities stemming from an early age. I routinely eschewed, thinking I gotta force myself to follow in the footsteps of my father. And by the way, Doug is great. He never pressured me to do so. To be great, to be a genius, to be an engineer, to be something, to be corporate. And it really was a blessing in disguise and a godsend when I ended my career at the bank during the very beginning of COVID, which is another surreal thing to say because, my goodness, so fucked that it's still around, and it's gonna be, we're approaching 2023. That's another conversation, but it was a necessary thing for the need to happen, not COVID, me leaving the bank, for me to really realize, why am I wasting my life and minimizing myself and whittling myself down to this iteration that's just disingenuous and just a very shallow representation of my true being. And I guess I've always kind of been somebody who believed that true wealth is measured in passion and purpose, and obviously in a capitalistic society, realistically speaking, yes, obviously money, but I've always felt more fulfilled doing what I'm doing here, writing about film, analyzing film, reviewing film, than I ever did trying to gyp people at banks. And it's just, it's insane. But these are things you have to learn with time, with experience, with growth. These are things that you have to navigate for yourself. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times somebody's going to tell you. You have to really experience it yourself, and that's just the human condition. Unless you are one of those rare, sagacious anomalies who can heed advice when it's first doled out. Wasn't me. But here we are in the San Fernando Valley, super hot, super industrial, super sunny, and it's gotten to the point where I've been in LA long enough where it feels like I'm losing touch with my Boston roots, which obviously I'm a little maudlin about, but it's not for the worst. But it really is so incredible to feel validated, and something, a validation I brought upon myself by following my heart, by doing something I felt was necessary in my personal growth. And like I said, I bemoan the hardship continually. Who doesn't? It's not easy. I'm not going to sit here, plaster a smile on my face, and tell you it's easy. I'm not an actress for that very reason, even though everybody always assumes I am, including the aforementioned Faye Dunaway. But there's beauty in hardship. There's experience to be had, to be transformed into art, and that's why I'm really happy that in these past few months I've also kind of taken a return to my creative writing, which, if you haven't read it or haven't found it yet, it's under my Substack, which I believe is Nora McIntyre, but it's called La Luna Ariete. There's poetry, there's vignettes, that sort of thing, because I do feel like it is important to, for me, it's not only cathartic, but to me, I feel like it's just, words are beautiful. That's my preferred means of expression. I could never really paint or draw in a way that brought me satisfaction or accomplishment. So to be able to put that out there, even if it goes unread, or even if only one person reads it, just knowing that it could affect or resonate with somebody, that is enough to warrant the output and the effort. But excuse me for waxing poetic. Not that there's a formal guideline to follow when making blogs, but yeah, 2 years. I remember it like yesterday. I remember how so many things, while they haven't changed, oh hi Roku City. So many things have changed, I should say. There are things that haven't changed, just like that very first day, how I was so hell-bent on being, at maximum efficiency, that I literally drove from Boston to St. Louis in a day. I think with adjusting for the time zone differences, it was like 20 hours of driving. And I will never forget that night, because also it was COVID, so hotels were dirt cheap. This is like the peak of the pandemic, first peak. I'd never been more tired in my life, and it was probably like one of the best feelings ever, just to crawl into bed that night. It's the things like that that stick with you, that at the time maybe aren't great, but just add character and remind you of how far you've come, of how much you've accomplished, how much, you know, things have changed. And, you know, for all I know, someone watching this could be contemplating a big life decision or a move or something that could very seriously alter the course of what they know in their life right now. And I guess if that is you, if you are that person watching this, I encourage you to pursue that, to seek your truth, to follow that. I'm here supporting you. It is imperative to me that you lead with your heart, you lead with your passion, like I said. Especially if you are an emotional being like myself, first and foremost. But, well, who can tell what the next year will bring in LA? I just am excited at the prospect of coming back a year later to recap yet another year. And 3 seems like such a big number, but I'm sure 3 will soon be 5, which will soon be 10. So on that note, I'm going to conclude this. Don't want it to run on too long, but if you listened, if you watched this, thank you. I appreciate you. And stay tuned for my regular weekly series on Last Week with Nora, where I rate movies on my favorite movie, really, where I spotlight my favorite movie of the week that I watched. Oh yes, my popcorn earrings. But other than that little plug, that's all I wanted to say. So good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and thank you.